What I wanted to talk to you about is something that's really been on my mind the last few days. When my daughter's body was first found, the police wrote it off as a suicide. Now, in that case, everybody knew that it was not true. In fact, that there were actual witnesses because my daughter was found dead in the pool of a sleazy hotel. And, anyways, there was like tents all along the back of the hotel where people were living that don't have homes. And many of them heard her murder. And they actually came forward the next day. But it's so much easier in most cases, in 3 out of 4 cases or 4 out of 5 cases, for things to get written off, not as they are, but just as is convenient. Okay? So I kind of suffered both deaths because the police said, oh, that's a suicide, even though she had bruises all over the place. And even though I spent 8 hours the next day in the creek talking to all the homeless people and recording it, it was obvious that she was murdered. However, my daughter had a best friend, and her best friend was named Tara. And when Tara was 13 years old, her mother died of cancer, and she moved to the school that my daughter was going to. And my daughter had Tourette syndrome, which was very hard for her to deal with. So yes, here she is. She's like beautiful, really pretty, but she had Tourette syndrome and it was real hard for her. And Tara showed up, and Tara was really OCD, and she was a little bipolar. I don't know if that had come out yet, but Tara, I always invited Tara, and I always included Tara, and I thought of Tara like a second daughter. And her and Nicole were so much alike, and their energy was so similar. And after my daughter died, Tara still continued to visit me, and our relationship even grew stronger. And I literally would have done anything for her. But 5 years to the day that they found the body of my daughter, they found Tara invited me over for dinner, and she invited her sister over for dinner, and she committed suicide at 3 a.m. The time we think that my daughter was murdered. So that issue has really affected me. And watching, I don't want to cry, but okay, like watching this Cheslie Kryst. And I don't know if you guys know about her or have heard about her. And I just want to start out by talking about her. And okay, so here's this lady that's just absolutely beautiful in every way. And besides being Miss USA, she had a list of accomplishments. She was a track star in high school and maybe college, I don't know, but she was a track star, and then she went to law school, and then she worked for a lawyer for a couple of years, and she became Miss North Carolina. She competed in Miss USA, and then she became a reporter for Entertainment Tonight. And the job that she had was interviewing celebrities, which, I mean, I think this is everybody's dream come true. And it's really sad because I think of all the people out there who may potentially be looking at her and saying, well, what about me? If all the clothes in the world, if by age 30 she had accumulated $5 million in wealth, she had a 9th floor apartment in Manhattan, she literally was mingling with celebrities and stars, and if you watch any of the videos of her, she literally lights up a room with that smile. And so from all external views, this is the perfect life. This is the life that people would dream about. And yet, last week, She went to the patio on the 29th floor of her apartment building and jumped off. So I've been praying for her. I've been praying for her mother. I've been praying for her family. I've been asked to be shown why. And I looked on her Instagram. In one post, she wrote, in case nobody told you today, I want you to know you are smart, beautiful, and you are worthy. And I wish that she had said that to herself in the mirror that morning and really believed it. I feel like the strain of the last couple of years of the pandemic has taken a toll on so many people. And the mental health of feeling isolated and bleak and wondering if there's a future for the world has really affected people's mental health. And it's something that we all need to look at. The human experience of why we're here is really all about our relationships with other people. And it's even our soul growth, and how we work out our soul growth is in relationship to other people. So I just, I pray for Cheslie and her family. And I pray for help for all the people out there who are struggling. And I've struggled too, because I've thought, it's a little bit of a mind trip to be isolated. And then when you go out to, everybody's wearing a mask, the isolation that many of us feel. And look, if she felt that bad, then how does everybody else feel? Like, kind of that upset me. And one thing I want to say, though, is for people who out there who are struggling, I want to say that throughout history, if you look at history, there's always been pandemics where there's 2 or 3 years of this kind of thing. It tries your strength and it tries your mental health. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, because most of these pandemics only last 2 or 3 years. We're almost through it. So just hang on if you're struggling. I also want to say that I meditated and I asked to be shown, why would this beautiful woman who had everything to live for, why would she do that? And I was literally shown King Kong going up the street in New York City, just, how he was bashing all the buildings and stuff like that and knocking over everything in his way. And then picks up the woman and takes her in his hand. So that may be a hint. It may be something somebody else knows. But I just pray for her and her family and anybody who's struggling to just spend time with people you love as often as possible and take care of yourself. I did get the feeling of being trapped, isolated, victimized, alone. And then I thought of something that wasn't psychic, but I also wondered, sometimes if people feel depressed and then they try an antidepressant, those I'll often have black label warnings that they can actually make somebody suicidal. And also sleeping pills, how people can take those sleeping pills and they end up doing things they don't quite realize that they're doing, because they're kind of in an altered state. So I just, I'll move on from that, but I just want to acknowledge this because I think it's going to affect a lot of young people who are watching that. So here, let's go. I want to say thank you. I want to say hello to everybody. Just want to say hi to everybody. And see, thank you, AJ. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. I really, really appreciate it and can put good use to it. So what I want to do today is there's so many cases. If you've been watching my channel, there's so many cases that I've covered. And if anybody has any questions about any of those cases, or they have any questions about last week, I was real focused on going over that letter to TBI. That was really important to me because I'm hoping that TBI will watch it. So if you have any questions, just put them up here. Will they find Summer Wells? They might. I was shown some energy they showed me someone in handcuffs leading them to the body. Now, of course, in physical life, they might take the handcuffs off while they're doing that, but it was all symbolic. So if they arrest somebody, and I did think it was, who, but I don't want to say. And someone asked if Barry will walk. The energy is that Barry will walk. Unless the DA and the system tightens things up, he's got the energy on walking. He might not walk. They could change it. But right now, the way things are looking is not too good for the state case. Will Suzanne Morphew be found before the trial? I don't have any energy about that. But I do have the energy of clarity of Barry getting away with this. It could change, though. It's like everything is like a river of energy. When you're predicting the future and when you're looking into the future, almost nothing is set in stone. There are some things that are set in stone, not everything. And so it's like energy, right? The energy right now is real clear for him to just walk away and get away with this. Yeah. Do you think Delphi murders will be solved? In that reading that I did with the mother of Liberty German, I was shown that the LE should be doing constant relative DNA, that people are always putting their DNA into these databases, and they will eventually find the person that way. But I was also shown that they'd already talked to the person, and that he was the person who had the cedar wall in his bathroom. It's either cedar wall or right off the shower, a little sauna, but they've already talked to him. Stop it. I got these little bulldogs that they think they're children. Let me see if there's another question. Your soul is beautiful. Thank you so much. Place 77. Okay, so we'll look for some more questions now. Will they find Lena Keel? I'm going to be honest and tell you something. I've been starting to put these missing children, and I meant to put it up here on a calendar. So in the occult, basically anyone who uses the occult sees that calendar, but there's a dark occult calendar when human sacrifices and she went missing the day before. And then Michael Vaughan went missing on the day of a human sacrifice day. Summer Wells went missing 6 days before human sacrifice day. So there's something going on in this country that the media is not covering. Okay, do you think Susan Cox Powell? Okay, so one of our moderators actually was a neighbor of Susan Powell. And she had contacted them. They were not interested in pursuing that. Let me see. Orrin and Orson West. Yeah, we talked about Orrin and Orson last week. And my feeling about that is it all ties back into this alleged adoption and the And why did they go to Colorado with the 2 boys and not come back? Then they went and dropped them off with whatever their fate was. It's not good. Sad, hate Jody Sue making money off some. I don't really think Jody Sue makes a bunch of money. In fact, if you look at her, maybe she's crying out because she kind of feels scared. Maybe being online constantly every day makes her feel a little safer. I don't know. Echo Lloyd is a case that I worked on. Echo Lloyd went missing right around the same time as Suzanne Morphew. And this is really typical. It's really typical. So Suzanne Morphew was really big in the press. She had a lot of money, so it's more glamorous. But Echo Lloyd didn't have a lot of money, and they went missing at right almost the same time. I did do a reading for free at the request of her daughter. I felt so sorry for her, like everybody else. Long story short, this woman went missing, and during the reading, the first thing it came up was wild turkey. Her daughter did not know what that meant. Then later in the reading, Echo showed me she was standing on this dirt road, and a bunch of turkeys, big turkeys, came walking across the dirt road. And I said, look, she's feeding the turkeys. Okay, there's all these turkeys coming up out of this creek. And then her daughter told me there was a place near where she went missing called Turkey Creek. So a long story short, if somebody was still searching for her, I would think that they would go along Turkey Creek. Okay, I'm going to answer a question. I'm sorry, I'm not quite totally familiar. I have, thank you, Greta. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The occult is just a word that means hidden. That's simple word. It's neither good nor bad. But there are people that believe that they should make use of both the good angels and the bad angels. So like Chad Daybell, you might find some of those people in a church. They could be spouting out religion and verses, and you will be seeing them in pink sweaters and quoting verses from whatever their religion is. Those are usually the darkest witches, honestly. But so occult just means hidden. So if you're into the Satanism, or you're into the voodoo, or you're into the Santeria, all those believe that you should make use of commanding or attempting to elicit the help from the demonic realm as well as the angelic realm. So that's what occult means. And the ones that work with the dark side and are into the blood magic, they will sacrifice animals and humans, and for both the adrenochrome, which gets them high, but also because while there's blood, the animals, the spirit, the demons or whatever, can use the proteins in the blood to manifest stronger so you can see them. And I'm looking at all these missing children, and I'm like, oh boy, all of these missing children. Type in satanic calendar. You're going to see July 27th is a human sacrifice day. That's when Michael Vaughan was taken. Little Lena down there in Texas was taken the day before human sacrifice day. Summer was taken 6 days before human sacrifice day. Tylee, Ryan, and JJ, it's clear that Chad Daybell's calendar was 1 day off from the standard calendar, but they murdered both Tylee and JJ on human sacrifice days, and Lori and Chad went and got married on what is called the Day of Revelry. And on the Day of Revelry, that's when it's like a sexual orgy and sexual gratification to celebrate the humans that were sacrificed to the demons that season. So literally, Lori and Chad also, I mean, it's cemented, and mainstream media hasn't touched it. It is cemented. It is proof. I have a video on my page called Lori Vallow Demon Possessed that goes over that. So I'm real sorry, Amber. I don't know what you're talking about, the pressman. I want to thank you, Greta, for contributing. Oh, is that AK? Oh my God. Hello, AK. Love you. AK has done so much work on the Suzanne Morphew case. He has more files, more actual work, more actual boot time than anybody I've ever seen. So let's see. Did TBI contact you? No, they did not. The Magic Mansion, don't know that. Orrin and Orson West, they are very likely gone. Let's see. These people, they know how to get rid of bodies. Obviously. I mean, you know, they're everywhere. They're in churches, they're in funeral homes, they're in everywhere. And they're there. And there's something, an undercurrent of this in our society people aren't talking about. And maybe if parents knew about that, then on the, you know, right around those days, they could be especially careful. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if I can find another question. How are you hired? Hi, Patty. Thank you so much for the contribution. Okay, so what it is, you know what? I hate, this is weird to say, but the adult murders, okay, you say Suzanne or Echo there, they don't really bother me to do those. I've done a bunch of them and it really doesn't bother me, but those children have knocked me on my, you know what, mentally, like after doing the most recent reading on Summer, which was about the 5th reading I did on her, I couldn't even barely get out of bed the next day even. And then for a full week, I had really bad nightmares and about 4 hours a day. I had to cancel the readings I had scheduled that week. I was getting about 4 hours of sleep, and that lasted for about 8 days. So I think in the future, when I look at cases, what I'm going to do is ask for guidance from my spirit team to bring me the cases they want me to work on. I can't just do back to back to back child murders like that. So here's a question. How do you know when it's a vision from spirit versus one's own thoughts or dreams? I have been seeing some of the wall things that I never would think about. One thing when you're developing your mediumship is practice, practice, practice. And do not be afraid of being wrong. Do you see how people attack me for every little thing? It doesn't even matter. You learn the most when you're wrong. You learn the most about how you're receiving things. And this difference is so subtle between your imagination and your mediumship. So I would say just keep practicing. I haven't heard of these Evandale people. No, I have not seen this WCIA. I don't know who that is. Do I think Chelsea, her name's Cheslie. I know it's different than most people think, but it's Cheslie. Do I think she jumped to her death? This is what I think. I think I would like to know if she had just recently started an antidepressant and I'm only going to be very honest and tell you a couple of years ago, I went to a psychiatrist and I said, you know, I feel depressed and I want to try to see if there's any antidepressants that might make me feel better. And they prescribed one. And within about 4 days, I actually not only did not feel better, I actually started having suicidal thoughts. And I thought, okay, well, I'm supposed to power through this. So I kept eating them. But by the 7th day, I was getting a little scared. The thoughts seemed stronger than me, you know, and I was able to call a friend and just say, hey, here's what's going on. And she said, do not eat another pill. Do not. And she talked to me for a couple hours on the phone. And I just know I know that they can take over your brain. They can make you have thoughts you would not normally have. So I wonder about that. And that might not be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Apparently they say, like, I'm thinking too, they must have CCTV. If they're saying that she went off the 29th floor where there's like a community deck, I would think that they would have security cameras there. I would think that they would be doing an investigation into that, and I would just wonder about that. I know I did see a picture, and she was wearing jogging shoes, so I don't know if she had went jogging or just put those on there to do that. It's sad. It's a tragedy, and I would like to do a reading on her. So if somebody does know her that hears this, they can contact me, and I definitely do a reading and see what. Thank you, Molly Go Lightly. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do I think Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is dirty? I don't think that it would help trying to get them to listen to me if I even delve into that. I think that there's a lot going on in that town that's overlooked, and I think that there's a lot of well-to-do people that don't have any problem spilling blood for their own enjoyment. Let's see. Okay, so Junie, about the occult calendar, check out my video that says Lori Vallow Demon Possessed on my video page. It does talk about that calendar, and then start marking off when these children go missing. And because I'm kind of wondering, okay, so little Michael Vaughan up in Idaho, and I'm getting a little bit of a serial killer vibe. So, okay, I'll tell you, on the first reading I didn't see his death. So hopefully he's alive, but I often block myself at the beginning because I don't want them to die. And so he goes missing on an occult human sacrifice day, and they show me Wesley Allen Dodd, who was a serial killer of little boys. So then I'm wondering, well, is this about location? Is this a clue? Is it a serial killer? But then I do another reading, and then they're showing me the Atlanta serial killer who I looked up, and in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is a black guy, and he killed like 29 little black kids or something like that before he got caught. So then you have Wesley Allen Dodd who killed 3 or 4, and they're showing me that. So what was the question? Yeah, start watching. Every time one of these high-profile children go missing where nobody knows what happened to them, look on the calendar and see what's going on. You can write me an email at reverendonnaseraphina@gmail.com if you want to hire me for that. Do you know what? I don't have television. So unless somebody talks to me, and you know what I was thinking? I should put something on my website, which is psychicseraphina.com. I should put something on there so that people can write to me about cases they would like me to cover. Like this Justin Evans, I've never heard of him. Madeline McCunn, it's going so fast. Where do people who commit suicide go? That's a really good question. And I communicated with Tara, who was my daughter's best friend, who committed suicide on the anniversary that they found her body. I communicated with her. She wasn't too happy at that time. But then I talked to, on the EVP, I was talking to the spirit guides, and what they described, this purgatory, like I never believed in this my whole life. I just thought it was more manipulation by religions, right? I never believed in it. But what they described to me was more like a hospital, a place where someone is to go under intense healing that they need to purge that out of their soul. Let me see. Yes, veterans. Veterans, that's very rough. People see things you can't unsee. Thank you, Jen, very, very much for the donation. And Kelly, thank you very much. Very, very much. And Catherine, you're welcome. Thank you. And Danny, do you do personal readings? Yes, I do personal readings, and I really like ones that are all about love and good memories. And you can just write me and put reading in the subject matter. It takes a while. There is well over 1,000 legitimate messages in there, even after I got rid of all the spam. So it might take a month or so to get to you, but just put reading in the subject matter. So the thing that people should know is when you read about a case in the paper, 4 out of 5 people are never going to get that kind of coverage. They're never going to get any justice whatsoever. And it's not looking very good for Orrin and Orson. I mean, that's the truth of it. Hopefully something changed, but it's not looking good. September and Sun. I saw her name to be, I don't know what that is. Has Summer spoke to you? No, the spirit people spoke to me, my spirit guides, and when I asked to be shown if Summer was alive in her physical body or not, or if she was out of her physical body, they literally had my daughter, Nicole, appear in front of me. My daughter, Nicole, was sitting down and she was holding Summer in her lap. And because my daughter, Nicole, is deceased, then I believed that they were showing me that Summer was deceased as well. Okay, Angela asks, do spirits contact us from dreams? Thank you, Nikki. Yes, they do. Okay, so every human being has a third eye. Look at that pineal gland. You're actually made to be able to connect with spirit. All human beings are. All right. And the time when you're most open is in your dream state, and that's absolutely, they try to get through to you then, for sure. Dior Coons, yeah, little boy, he's so cute. And I actually did a second reading with his father. So the first reading I did for Dior Coons was his grandmother contacted me, or a third party arranged it or something like that. And when the mother heard that I was doing a reading, she came to the reading. And you guys know as well as I do, if I saw a mother killing her child, I would say something. But that was not what happened. It was so clear what they showed me about the bear. What I was seeing, I held my mouth because the grandmother and the mother were on the other end of the phone, but it was so vivid, graphic, and clear. And I have lived in a city all my life. So after the first reading with the mother and her mother, so the mother and maternal grandmother, I went and looked on YouTube and I searched bear attacks, and within less than 10 minutes, I knew I was spot on about that. And then later, a few weeks later, I was contacted by the paternal aunt, the twin sister of Dior's father. And I thought I was doing a regular reading, but then when the reading occurred, Dior's father was there and I did a reading for them. And right at that time, I was going into surgery. I'm going to go have a surgery, and I never got that uploaded. So if people want to hear it, it's actually a really beautiful reading. But I know what happened. There's some bones that are findable. They showed me where they were. But, yeah, it's like, oh, man, for a couple months, I just wanted to drive to Idaho and go look for the bones. And then I realized I probably couldn't climb the hill, and what would I do when the bear woke up? I don't know. So let's see. Dior Coons can be found. Oh, this was the interesting thing. So after the grandmother, the maternal grandmother never said anything throughout the reading. Like, I actually recorded the reading on my phone app as well as my external, which I believe I put the external up here. But she didn't even tell me until the reading was over And then after the reading was over, she told me that Sheriff Penner was actually a deputy at that time. And they had went up on when the searches were going on, they had went up in the air and they had actually seen a bear. So he came down from the helicopter and he said they saw a bear, but they didn't really think the bear did it, but he noted it. So here I am saying, yeah, they're showing me a bear picking up the kid and running. And I've written to Sheriff Penner, but I've received no reply. So he could be found if somebody actually was motivated and wanted to work with me. Then he could be found, yeah. I do every kind, Chanel. I do every kind of readings. And yes, I love past life readings. I've done it on myself multiple times. Thank you, New York City girl. Thank you so much. Okay, so this lady asked, would I be willing to do reading for a small group? So prior to this pandemic locking everything down, my very sacred, my most important, my to my heart was my circle that I held every single week for almost 6 years. And I have them all recorded. So I have hundreds of recordings of mind-blowing circles that I've done. So in a way that's small group readings, but what I teach people is I teach people how to connect with spirit as well. And when I first started doing that, I didn't even want to do it, but every time I meditated, they kept showing it to me. So yeah, I'm not really an entertainer, but yeah, I'm very spiritual and I serve spirit. So, and I have also, like, when people have hired me for a reading, I've had 3 or 4 sisters on the phone line. So now I do all my readings by phone because of the pandemic. But yeah, you could have multiple people on the phone line. Okay, let's see if we can find another question here. Crystal and Kylan murder. Yeah. So, and she's the lady who found them. Amazing. She's really down to earth. I really like her. So I had done the couple reading. I had done the one reading where there was the 13-year-old present. So there was just, a limit of how far I was going to go with that. But then after I hung up, then I did a meditation about it and I put both of those online. And then, Cindy Sue is her name. So I had a reading scheduled with Cindy Sue, and that morning I broke my ankle. I literally broke my tibia in 2 pieces. And actually the next day after that, I had a reading scheduled with Hannah Dotson, who is David Dotson's daughter. So that was October 5th and 6th. And so I had to put those off. Obviously, I was in a lot of pain. And her father, I offered him my help, and then he went in the media and for no reason publicly ridiculed psychics. And I could just tell you right now, I'm done putting up with that. I'm done having people use me. I'm done having, and then I went in there and they're like, oh, maybe Dog the Bounty Hunter will help us. Maybe this manly man will help us. And it's like, if I'm garbage to somebody, I'm not going to be doing a reading on their case. That's just how it works. I'm done. I'm totally done being trampled on for any reason. I'm going to follow spirit. And although if Cindy Sue wanted a reading, I'd still do one for her because she's super, super nice. But she's also got some serious trauma from finding those friends of hers. So we'll see how that goes. That's open. Yeah, I know. I need help. I totally need help. I really need actually someone to do everything except this. Is it true children with autism can see things others don't? That could be. That could be. In fact, I was going to experiment with someone and do a reading with their kid or for their kid, and we never did it. I remember that. I forgot about it. I do want to explore that. And, okay, this is a little different, but somebody actually contacted me. Their friend was in the hospital in a coma, basically a coma. And I agreed to go pray for them. And also I wanted to see if I could connect to the person in the coma. And I did go pray over that person for quite a while. And what was really interesting to me is when I was leaving, I put my hand on his heart, I put my hand on his hands, and I was whispering to him about God. And he had already showed me during the reading, he had shown me going into the light. And he turned around and waved, and he said something about, like, tell my friends I love them, or something like that. And I couldn't tell his friend because they were all hoping so much that he would wake up, but I knew he wasn't going to. And the weird thing is, when I was saying goodbye to him down by his face, he barely woke up, and he said, thank you. And I was just blown away. I was blown away when I walked out of that hospital. So that was pretty cool. Let's see if I can find some questions. Oh, if you want to write to me, I'm going to be doing some more readings that aren't only crime. I was meditating the other night. Now, this is the second time this has happened. Beth Chapman has come through. She really likes to talk, and she really wants to talk. And so I should maybe listen to it, edit it, and put it up. But she was showing me a specific cake, if the dog happens to hear this. She was showing me a specific Valentine's Day cake. It was really pretty, and it had an arrow through the cake. And it looked like it was from a bakery. Not 100% sure if it was from a bakery, but I think it was. So, and poor little Michael Vahan, I feel so sorry for his mother. It breaks my heart, and he is so adorable. Don't forget to like the chat. 1,600 people in the room. That's pretty cool. I really want to thank all of you for joining me. Do I use crystals? I have a lot of crystals. I love them. They're all over my mantle and my shelf. I love my crystals. Yes, I love my crystals. I would say that I do straight up mediumship. I allow myself to go into a trance. I have one spirit team I work with. I don't just open to spirit and go, okay, any spirits out there? It is so controlled with literally Jesus Christ and the archangels that I call in, and my daughter, that I can feel them all around me prior to even going. I let go of myself. I let them take my consciousness to show me, to go out of my body, to show me what they want to show me, which is why the visions are so graphic, but also why they're kind of stressful sometimes. The question, will Suzanne Morphew be found? I don't know. I don't know if she will. She probably could be. She probably could be if somebody was able. Okay, let me see. My dogs are whining. Who killed Cash Gurnon? I have no idea. I don't even know who. Harmony. We talked about her last week. If you want to check out last week's live. Let's see. Was Summer cremated? She could have been. I don't know. I do not know. I don't know why they keep showing me all those funeral homes. And the other thing is, I don't even know if that hollow log was really a casket, a hollow log, or a barrel. I don't know. Let's see, Harmony, little Harmony. Isn't she cute? I mean, I would give anything to have a little girl to take care of. I really would. And these people just toss these kids out like they're nothing. It just kind of make me cry again. Okay, let's see. Kelsey Barrett, haven't heard of that. See, that's the thing. I don't have television. And really, the reason I turned it off was I was tired of, like, when I'd see the news and stuff, I could see where bodies were already while they're talking. So let's see. Will Dawn be made to serve time tomorrow? I don't know if they're going to make him serve time tomorrow or not. They should put him in there for both of them for 30 days for drug rehab, I think. Okay, Maura Murray. All these people I've never heard of. Cody Bigsby. Let's see. Thank you, Giselle. Okay, so Dawn is in court tomorrow. I've texted back and forth with Dawn for like a month and a half. And how he acts to me is not like, when he gets drunk and goes on all these different lives. He acts real polite to me. He acts probably, because I told him I used to be a social worker at juvenile parole and monitor sex offenders in the community. And he's really polite to me. Let's see. Yes, I went to Tennessee. Delphi. Would you go to Tennessee? Yeah, if I could drive. They wouldn't let me fly. I haven't had that, and I'm not going to. So, okay, let's see. Do you think funeral homes may be fronts? This is the thing. People who do this trafficking get into every kind of job possible where they have access to everything they need. So whether it's any kind of youth worker, like I actually worked in the institution before I was a social worker at parole. I worked in the institution, juvenile institution, and those people, they will get volunteer jobs at churches. That's the easiest. That's picking grounds, because people go to church thinking, they can trust everybody there. And the reality is every single person who has access to children should have the most thorough background check. But some of them, I don't know, scouts, everything, they're everywhere. At junior high schools, they want to be teachers. Like these teenagers, this girl a female who raped 26 children in her neighborhood, her goal when she got out, she was trying to convince me she was healed and she was going to be a Christian youth worker. So you got to be massively careful, unfortunately. And, one thing, the internet is really cool, but, it's allowed all these people to really build quite the underground network. Thank you, Gracie, so much. That's so nice of you. And thank you, Giselle. Someone asked, would I ever put up the rest of the reading? I don't think that they would let me put it on YouTube. It was bad. I mean, I saw horrible things, like hanging upside down by ankles by chains and things. It would just get struck off YouTube, I think, if I did. And even if I did, some weirdos might enjoy it, so I'm not going to. Have you had a chance to read the email I sent you about drywall mud? No. Maddie McCann, past lives. Yeah, I had really weird. So I've done a bunch of these past life readings on myself. And I keep going into the same life. And I wasn't anybody rich or famous or powerful. It's just this, it must be in like Scotland or Ireland or somewhere around there. And my husband died. I had some children. I know I had a larger house and my son made me move to the smaller house. But it's really interesting. And I always know I'm going back into that one when I'm walking up these cobblestones and I see these hedges. It's really interesting. I love doing these past life regressions. Very fun. How nice of you, Danny. I know it's, this thing with Summer is a total, complete tragedy from the day she was born. It is just, I thought that the murder of Tylee Ryan was the worst I could ever possibly see until I see Summer. Okay, I've done a lot on Suzanne Morphew. I've even done ones I haven't uploaded. I've done enough where if she's findable by those clues, like I see the same things every time. I see the exact same things. I'd probably have to go there. Did Miss USA jump? They're saying she's jumped. I have not done a reading yet. I do think there's other factors, and that's why I wonder if she just started some kind of antidepressant or something, or these sleeping pills are super weird. Like people do real weird things on them. They drive cars, they cook food, they go do weird things. So, some rock star before, I forgot the band, but he threw himself on a sword. He killed himself, and he wasn't suicidal, but he had just gotten some of those sleeping pills. Will Lori be found guilty? I don't know, but if you listen to the readings, what's really interesting is I said if she ever comes back to being normal, she's going to go crazy from what she's done to her daughter. So I when I look at Chad Daybell, I actually still feel hatred. I feel so much anger. I hope someone, well, I can't say on Facebook, but if he goes, just stop. I don't know what's allowed. Okay, so let's see. Would you help the wrongly convicted? This is the truth too. On my 16-year-old car out there, I have 3 dashboard lights that all need repair. I've helped people my entire life. Most of my life, I've done volunteer work always. Like for 4 years, I volunteered as a victim advocate for families of murder victims. You know, the last 2 years, I totally believed if I proved myself that I would be able to find funding from somebody wealthy enough to be able to really help me set this up. I spent months writing an essay for Afterlife. That didn't pan out. And at this point, I actually have to take care of myself. And because of one of this lady, I was looking on her Instagram, and one of her friends said, you cannot help others from an empty cup. And that's exactly right now. So thank Almeida. Thank you very, very much. Oh, baby. My little dogs are whining. What criminology courses have you done? I have a bachelor's in criminal justice from the University of Washington, 1996. So a lot. It's pre-law, so it's 30% criminology, 30% law, and 30% psychology, and then I have a minor in psychology. Except I was 3 classes short, and my brother was murdered back then, and then I took his kids out of foster care, and they were really messed up, so I had to change my plans a little, but I did get my bachelor's in criminal justice, yes. Let's see. Bachelor's degree. University of Washington, that's pretty good. How do we protect our dreams? I would pray, not out of fear, but out of love, and just call in Jesus Christ, call in God, call in all that is of love and light to protect, and that should do it. Let's see. Okay, I think that's enough for today. I'm gonna sign off. Hopefully next week I'll be able to show you the pictures better. So last week, that was my first time, and I was having a full-blown anxiety attack. So thank you guys for being so patient with me and giving me another chance. What I had wanted to show you last week was the map of the places that we were looking at for Summer Wells. And so I just went ahead and uploaded that. So if you want to go on my video page, you can watch that, what I wanted to show you last week. So I'm going to go now. Hi, Lori. Let's see. Oh, look what's this. Shannon. Thank you so much, Shannon. My email is Reverend Donna Seraphina, and that's with a PH at gmail.com. Thank you, Duckyard. Thank you, Margaritas and Palm Trees. Thank you, K-Dub. Thank you, Gracie. Okay, I'm going to sign off now. A little tired. It made me a little teary thinking about Cheslie, and just prayers for everybody. I just really want to close by just really asking God to just share his love and healing with everybody listening to this. I would like for all of you to feel the healing, love, and know that you are not alone, and that we are together, and we will prevail. We will get through this together. So I love you guys, and thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop now, and I'll talk to you later.